Welcome back to the Body Wisdom series. I'm Cherie, your somatic coach. In this video, we are going to be exploring body awareness, which is something that you can cultivate through practice and is essential for understanding and supporting your emotional well-being. In our previous videos, we explored polyvagal theory and how it relates to the nervous system, as well as how trauma impacts us. Now let's dive into body awareness as the very first step in being able to identify what's happening in our nervous system in real time. So, body awareness is about tuning in or being aware of the physical sensations and signals from our body. It's akin to learning the language of our body. It's how our body communicates with us. So it's about noticing and being present with subtle cues and shifts, such as changes in our muscle tension, changes in breathing patterns, shifts in our posture, the way we hold our body, our vocal tone. All of these things give us insight into the physiological and emotional state of our being. This awareness helps us to identify how our nervous system is responding to different situations. And as you develop more body awareness, you'll better be able to recognize what state your nervous system is in. For example, in sympathetic or fight or flight, you may notice that your heart is racing or your breathing becomes shallow. For me, I notice that I usually start to lean forward. My shoulders come up and get tense. I usually start to speak much faster and at a higher pitch. And so when I notice these things happening, it's like a little notification, ding, ding, ding. Oh, I'm starting to get activated. I'm starting to move into a sympathetic response. Now, conversely, with dorsal, you might feel heavy, you might feel numb, you might feel sluggish. For me, I start to feel disconnected to what's happening around me and that everything is kind of starting to move in slow motion. It almost feels a little surreal. So, by paying attention to how our body responds, to how your body responds specifically, you can gain insight into your emotional responses and your nervous system states. So it's also equally as important to become familiar with in your body what it feels like to be in the ventral vagal state, which is where we feel safe, grounded, centered, connected, calm. What does that feel like in your body? Having a baseline for that will help you to be able to more easily notice when you're starting to move out of that state into a more activated state. And so again, being aware of these shift states will allow you to be able to better respond with more intentionality and care instead of tumbling into blind reactivity. Now, trauma can impact and limit our ability to connect with these bodily sensations and cues. It can create a sense of disconnection, numbness, and disassociation, making it really challenging to connect with what's happening in the body. This is a natural protective response when the body feels overwhelmed. So if you're someone who finds it difficult to connect with the body, know that 1, you're not alone, and 2, it's okay. It is not a failure on any level. Honor where you're at and go slow. Rebuilding the connection with your body and cultivating body awareness takes time, care, and patience. And it is absolutely possible for every human being. And the good news is, it's not complex. It's actually pretty simple in practice. However, it requires regular practice, which is often the hardest part for most people, right? And so, although formal practices like sitting meditation and body scans are helpful in cultivating body awareness, I've found that what's most essential is regularity. So keeping it simple, easy, accessible is what helps with the actual doing it part, which is what creates body awareness. So my favorite way to do this is something I call pause as a practice. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It just means taking 1 or 2 minutes every day and pausing, connecting to your body, and seeing what you notice. And there's no way to do it wrong or to fail, because you're simply noticing what's there. And if you've stopped, connected, and done that, it's a success. What I do is I simply feel my feet on the ground, take a couple of deep breaths, I let my mind settle, and I just ask the question, what am I feeling in my body right now? And I just notice. And sometimes I don't really notice anything. And other times I notice quite a bit. And so that's all it is. Sometimes I add in the question, how am I doing? Or how am I feeling? As a little emotional check-in to also build connection and awareness around how I am emotionally at any given moment. Over time, this simple practice of pausing and checking in with your body regularly will increase your body awareness. And as you cultivate more capacity to be with your bodily sensations and signals and increase your body awareness, you'll become more attuned to how and when your body responds to both safety and stress. This will enable you to be able to better recognize when you're moving out of ventral vagal safety and into survival states, and what kinds of things tend to activate that within yourself. Now, for me, when I was first learning this, I almost always could only see what had happened after the fact, in retrospect. Like, oh, I see, I got really activated there. That's what was going on. However, with time and practice, I can see and understand what's happening sooner and sooner. Now, much of the time, I'm able to notice the early signs of my body getting activated so that I have the opportunity to intervene and support myself, giving me more choice in how I respond. Now, of course, learning how to recognize what state you're in or what state you're moving into is just the first step. What do you do if you find that you're moving into or you're in sympathetic fight or flight or dorsal shutdown? In our next video, we are going to go into specific somatic practices that you can use to support yourself when you're in the sympathetic or fight or flight state. Thank you so much for being here with me. If you're finding this helpful, please come join me over at Your Somatic Coach on Instagram, and I truly look forward to seeing you in the next video.